Have you ever played backgammon?
No, I have no idea how to play it. But backgammon, is that the one with the net and the little weird little thing?
No, it's with the game board. It's got like the really sharp triangles, and you move.
Oh yeah, no.
Like pieces, and it has the container that you shake. Like they shook the dice in that container. Remember? So in backgammon, you have those containers. You have to roll them from the container. I don't know.
What is the game where you use the little thing? It's like tennis. You use like the thing that looks like something from Doctor Who.
Is that Pinochle? I don't know.
You don't know? It's like tennis. It comes with the things. You hit it, and then it's got a little point. It's like usually a rubbery thing, and then some plastic that comes down from it.
Mousetrap?
Mousetrap? Mousetrap
I don't know
is
what
not
you're
like
talking about. What are you talking about?
badminton. That's badminton. Before we bring our guests in, because man, we have a packed show. It's been a while since we've had more than like 3 of us. Because Max has taken off the whole year pretty much, except for like 6
Max.
I'm having not a great year. Unfortunately, like I wish it was better circumstance or just sheer laziness that has been keeping me from the podcast. But like, it's not been great. So I apologize. But like life happens. So
we're doing the top 5 movies that feature weddings, and I got creative with my list, and I hope you guys did too. It's gonna be fun. But I'm gonna introduce our guests. First up, we have Dan Mastershake. He is from the Scene Snob show Math versus Smash. Give me a quick 30-minute synopsis of what that show's about.
30-minute synopsis.
So Math has a whole algorithm to determine winners and losers in football. That's my brother, Tim. You guys know him probably from other podcasts. I play Smash. He bets like you can imagine. And we play these 2 characters, and we go over the NFL each week during the regular season. We have some specials for preseason and postseason and the Super Bowl. It's only for football. Everybody wanted us to do baseball, and we were like, neither one of us knows enough to really bet baseball.
Baseball sucks.
But and last year the 2 of us made quite a bit of money. I made probably like $600-700, and he made about $900. This season we're gonna go.
The math is better.
Yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, so I'm playing a role. Like, here's what's funny.
Oh no, you lose on purpose. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I don't lose on purpose. On the show, I say I'm going to bet X, Y, and Z, but really, behind the scenes, we bet the same way. It's just what I meant. But yeah, my whole character is just to play this guy who like only bets according to feelings, and he always claims that he's talking to coaches behind the scenes. And, like, his hot takes are like the worst hot takes. Like, I like getting into the role. Sometimes I put on like sunglasses and like an armband and stuff. Like, it's just a good time. And I think we're doing it every Thursday during the football season this year. My guess is probably around 6:00. That's what we did last year. So yeah, if you guys want to tune into that, it's great. Obviously, my show before that was Mastershake's Moderately Entertaining Mixology Minutes. Mouthful. I did 2 seasons of that, and I'm happy to be here and talk all things geek with you guys. This is a good show. I tune into this probably about once or twice a month, man. You guys do a great work.
Oh, awesome.
I remember the first time we were on a Scene Snob show together, and you're like, "You're from the 3 Geeks. I love those guys."
It just didn't. I don't know why, Jason. I didn't make the connection. I have no idea why. But yeah, I like your guys' show. I think you do a good job. I like the bevy of topics that you guys discuss. Like pop culture is something, and especially since you guys are giving a little bit different take on pop culture stuff. You actively try to operate outside of the box, which I appreciate.
Yeah, we can't be contained. There's no box that could hold us.
There's too many geeks to put in one box.
Not anymore. It's 3.5 with 4 of us.
Yeah,
if we had to put the bat signal up, we could get a lot of geeks.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I'm like a quarter of the geeks now with as much as I show up, so it's not even
like a geek clown car.
Yeah. It's I think like 2.25 geeks at any given time.
It's like the train station in Harry Potter. Like,
Our next guest is the only other guy that I know who loves to promote himself as much as John Orlando, and that is my co-host on the Scary Snobs. He also does Horror with Sir Sturdy and Pies and Pints. How you doing, buddy?
Oh man, pies and pints, Jason. Pies and pints. I don't know what that is. He meant popcorn and pints.
Popcorn and pints.
Don't.
Pies and Pints is actually a restaurant, and it's not bad.
Don't yell at
Go
me.
check out
Sturdy,
Pies and Pints.
okay?
We're not sponsored.
Sturdy, I apologize.
Oh, I'm good. I'm calm. I'm chilling.
And then you guys, you know him. He is the thing. He is from the Tick. It's Joshua Schubart. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Jason? Thanks for having me again. Hi,
Dude.
everybody else. What's up?
I got really happy for you the other day when I found out like the entire Fantastic Four cast turned down the roles, and then now that the strike's going on, nobody's signing on, so we got time to get that.
Time. Yeah, I mean, I made the transformation of Ben Grimm as my guerrilla audition for the Fantastic Four and the MCU. It's literally on every platform imaginable. You can watch it, you can share it, you can tell me that it sucks. I don't care. But it's out there, and I'm really happy with it. And I hope my agents and my managers have sent it all into Marvel. But because we can't make any talk deals, I don't know what's happening. So yeah.
Fingers crossed, man. I was like, wow, the whole cast turned down the roles.
I know. I have never been happier in my life.
Just when you thought you were out, they pulled you back.
They pulled me right back in. Yeah.
Door's still
It's
open. That door is still open. That's awesome.
I know. I'm amped.
Before we get too much into the madness, I want to talk to you, Josh, a little bit about the strike, because what I found fascinating, it was kind of explained to me, like with streaming deals, it's not the same as like classic, when other networks would air shows, they don't get the same kind of pay. So like, for instance, the show Suits is the #1 streaming show on all of streaming services for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And nobody's getting paid for it.
No.
Suits?
Yes.
Yeah, but nobody's getting
that mediocre ass USA bullshit.
You are correct.
Successful though.
The #1 show on Netflix. Right now.
Yeah, but
that with a spoon.
We're not reviewing the show, but the show's fine. But
it's just mediocre.
But
random ass lawyer show. Like
it's well tailored for its audience.
I mean, I guess like there is the Duchess of Sussex in it. I guess there's that, but Suits. Wow.
Mediocre shit tends to do very well with most of America. Like it's right down the middle. It's really not speaking about a lot of stuff. It's entertaining, and like that's why like people love The Office. That's why people love Friends. That's why people loved Seinfeld. That's why people love that shit, is because they are right down the middle and they don't really rock a lot of boats, and people love to not be rocked, so they watch it.
I didn't plan on rocking the boat with just mentioning the name of the show, but what was fascinating about it is like nobody on the show has been paid for the royalties for the streaming. Like,
well, that's why we're on strike. Yeah. I mean, it's the business model, right? So the business changed, but the contract hasn't. So network TV and traditional to the movie theater movies, that's all the way that it's supposed to be. People get paid based on how many people watch it or what the box office buy is, things of that nature. The streaming services are on these old and antiquated new media contracts, which is like, we're new, this is an internet thing, we don't know if it's even going to survive. Can we be on these things, these really weird, where we don't have to pay any money contracts? And they first came out when like people were making web series and people were putting things on YouTube, and when people were making podcasts like in the beginning. And Netflix was really the first one to kind of be like, hey, we want to make our own TV shows and our own movies. and we want to provide a library online of past TV shows and movies to our subscriber base. And they were like, listen, we don't know if this is going to work, but we know that all these people are part of your unions. So will you create a special contract for us? And the union said, yeah, sure, great. That's awesome. And then later on down the line, we can talk again if you're really successful. And now Netflix stock is $500 a share, and things of that nature. And what the unions are asking for is just what we already have with traditional media. So we're not asking for something outrageous. We're not asking for like a huge percentage. We are asking for collectively less than 1% of their total profit margin, which is nothing to them. It's like a cup of coffee. And they've responded with, we want you to lose your homes. We want your families to die. We'll never ever pay you. We want to replace you with AI. Go fuck yourselves, basically. So we're on strike. And our what we're asking for is not, honestly, it's not crazy. It's just we want to get paid and get matched with inflation. We want to have proper residuals, and we don't want you to own our likenesses and our voices till the end of time without being appropriately compensated. That's the whole thing, right? So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely heinous, the amount of money made and then not paid out to the people who helped make it, like to everybody who helped make it happen. I mean, like, right. You think about and this is across multiple different, like careers or whatever you want to call it. Like, like the actors and the writers are in it now. And I'm with you guys. Like, don't give up. Like, I mean, like, this shit sucks. But these people, these just greedy money people who think that they are the most important piece, most important cog, and it's like you don't do anything. None of these heads, none of these CEOs do anything except for write the check. And
they don't even write the check.
And yeah, they don't even write the check. And so it is amazing to me how nobody ever wants to just give someone their due. It's like you don't have to rob everyone to get rich. Like you can still get rich and have everyone be happy. And it's just
everybody
amazing to
can
me.
Absolutely eat, and you can still have multi-millionaires, and you can have your yachts, and you can have your and that's absolutely true. And people think that this is about the 1% of this industry, and it's not. It's about the 99% of everybody else. It's about people that are making. This is how, like, I'm part of the under 1% of people. Like, I'm very, very fortunate that I've been on a bunch of shows, and I'm on the Tick, and I've been on HBO, and I've been on things, and I make my health insurance every year, but the threshold to make that health insurance is $26,000 a year, and 86% of our membership cannot make that threshold anymore because of the streaming services. It's $26,000 a year. That's less than a McDonald's worker makes, working at McDonald's. And in the past 5 or 6 years, people just haven't had health insurance, because how it normally works is you get paid for your day or your week or your month or whatever it is, and then that's how much you get paid, and then you get paid residuals, which add to your total, which then add to your health insurance and your pension. And because streaming has become very, very dominant, and they don't pay any residuals, you can't add up. And because they changed the TV show model from 22 to 23 episodes a season to 10, you are working way less a year. Like that seems weird. Like, hey, why don't you just get another job? But a lot of the streaming services sign you to exclusive contracts saying that you're not allowed to work for any other TV shows. So you only work for 3 months a year, getting paid for only 3 months of the year, making no residuals, and you're not allowed to work for any other TV show anywhere for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and like, why does that need to be? You know, it's like, hey, like you've worked, we have our show. Why can't you go somewhere else and do another show? As long as it's not conflicting, like I don't see like why that needs to be.
Well,
like,
because that's the model for network TV. But with network TV, when it was a 22 episode show, you would work for 8 or 9 months a year. So you didn't care. You were like, okay, I'll make my money. I'll be able to pay my mortgage and my bills, and I don't have to worry about it. But when you're truncated, like, so for example, when I was on the Tick, season 1 was a normal run of a show. We were on set for, it was longer than normal. It was 12 episodes. And so we shot for, 4 or 5 months. Season 2, they put us on a split shoot, which means that we shot 2 episodes at the same time every time. So it truncated us down to like a 2.5 month, 3 month thing. Plus they're working us twice as hard because we're shooting twice the amount of shit a day, and we're being paid the exact same amount as one episode's worth of pay.
You see, like,
dirty, man.
Yeah, that's just greed. It's just like, man, and oh yeah, no, my mind is blown at these people. Like, I don't understand. Like, I can't maybe it's because I've never been rich. Like, I don't understand. Like, I've never been so rich where I'm just like, you know what, like. Literally screw everyone else. Like, I need my money. I've never had that much money, so I can't speak to that. But the greed is just like, okay, I figured out a way where I can pay you half. I'm gonna do that. It's like
they want you to be a contractual worker and treat you like a contractual worker, but act like a full-time employee. That's horseshit.
Yeah.
So we were ready to join the strike. The guys, we were in a chat. We were like, we're canceling all of our streaming services. It's done. But then I jumped on Twitter and I saw, I think it was Andy Richter who said the streaming services are trying to say that the numbers are all over the place and they're risky. So whatever you do, keep your streaming services because we need those numbers to stay up.
Right.
So yeah, we bundled in process. Solidarity. We watched way more TV. Like, we do that for you guys.
No, I mean, thank you.
Yeah, not for us at all. We don't watch TV for us at all.
And I appreciate that, but that is very true. So part of the negotiations that the studios are using is it fluctuates all the time. They're basically crying poverty. So if people boycott and they cancel, then they use that as proof, saying, "See, people are leaving. We can't afford to pay you." Okay. And because they hide their numbers, so their like viewership numbers are not public, and that's part of the thing that we're asking for. They only tell you how many people watch it when it's like an astronomical amount of people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like they'll tell you, like, Stranger Things season 3 was like watched for like 80 billion hours in the first month, right? But they won't tell you about any of their other shit, and it's to hide the fact that they are hiding it so that they don't have to pay residuals on the amount of views, which is what we're fighting for.
So put it in perspective, we were talking about Suits earlier. Suits got 12.8 billion minutes viewed in the last 4 weeks.
Yep. So the same thing happened with Suits. The same thing happened with The Office. The same thing happened with Gilmore Girls, Friends, basically even newer shows. So here's it's so fucking insidious, right? So one of the most popular shows ever at the moment is Abbott Elementary. It's an incredible show. It's an amazing sitcom. sitcom, breaking all types of amazing fucking boundaries. And how it used to work is that an amazing show like that would then go to a bunch of other cable TV networks. It would go into syndication, and because of the deals, everybody would get paid again. They would get all their residuals, blah blah, and everybody would make money. But because every single network now has their own streaming service, they put it there the next day. So Abbott Elementary goes from ABC, which is owned by Disney, which then goes to Hulu, which is owned by Disney, which then goes to Disney Plus, which is owned by Disney. And I think the writers got paid a total of $300 for when it went to Hulu and when it went to Disney Plus. And then, they get their normal money from when it airs on network TV, but there's no more reruns anymore.
Yeah.
So you don't get your residuals for the reruns because it's all on the streaming services. So we just need to get our fucking money for you making money off of the shit that we make.
Yeah.
Oh, hell
That's it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Again, like, hey, someone does have to front the money, and I understand like that is a position, but
Sure.
like, there's like you don't have the TV show for people to watch without the people in the friggin' TV show. It is impossible to have a TV show without actors.
Yeah.
No one's gonna.
Guys, I have played with Chat GPT. Like I put in silly like Ace Ventura Has a Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't want to watch that movie. Like it's fun for like a 1 minute read, but it's not like AI cannot write the scripts well at all.
And that's the other thing too. Like the writers are going to go on strike, and they're like, okay, we might sit down with them. But as soon as the writers are like, oh yeah, you can't have AIs be writing your shows, they're like, oh no, fuck you guys. Like there's no way. Like we're not. I hope your house burns down.
So here's the thing that I would love is if people stopped calling it AI.
Oh, right.
Because it's not AI, it's a plagiarism machine. So the only reason that it can write a script is because it's read thousands of already written scripts. So it's not an alive computer mind creating art. It's plagiarizing thousands of amalgamations of art, and that's what they want to do for scripts. And they want to train actor AIs on the past 100 years of performance and feed it into an algorithm and then create avatar. So what they want. So let me just clarify this. We don't care if this happens as long as you compensate the people that you are training your AIs on. And if you use an AI avatar of me, there has to be a contract about what that avatar will and will not do, say, blah, blah, blah. There has to be a pay scale, so on and so forth. And if you make an approximation of me based off of all of my past performances that acts like me but does not look like me, you still have to pay me because you trained it on me.
There was even a contract for actors and actresses in the Black Mirror that dealt with this.
Yeah, well,
like the Black Mirror had a better situation than what you're describing.
Right.
In Black Mirror, dystopia, the actors had a better contract than what you are. That's pretty fucked up.
It is.
It's supposed to be a dystopia. It's supposed to be the worst of the worst, and you guys are experiencing something that's worse than the dystopia. Well, that's messed up. That's messed up.
We are aware, and like all artists are aware, that this type of technology has been on its way for a long time. And this type of shit is a tool that we will happily use to enhance what we're already doing. It's not a replacement, it's an enhancement. And our unions went into the negotiations having worked on presentations for months with AI experts in the field. And the studios wouldn't even hear the presentations about how to use it to enhance what we're already doing. They just want to own everything in perpetuity forever. Go fuck yourself. So the head of now, Max, who has already said, like, we're going to move away from the HBO model and move more towards the Discovery model of reality TV shows and cooking shows, because that made us a lot of money. So what they're going to do is they're going to push some of the greatest television in the history of time down the fucking drain and just move towards reality TV anyway. He proposed that background actors, we get scanned one time, paid one time, and then used in perpetuity forever. A lot of people were like, all right, that's fine. It's just background actors. Who cares, right? But that's how I started in TV and film. I worked in background, and that's how a lot of people get started. So when you scan them once, pay them once, and use them forever, you've removed them from the industry. They can never be in anything again, because you can't have you acting with you walking behind you.
Yeah.
And also, like, obviously you need the people, or else you wouldn't be scanning the people. Like,
exactly.
If you didn't need that body, then you wouldn't steal it. So
Right.
what? Oh yeah, no, I can't stand people. I cannot. It's just like, it's just the bold-faced greed, and like you're saying, like, they have to own everything forever, and it's like, I can't get behind it. It's absolutely terrible.
This sets the tone, and I hate to be like, this is a blah, blah, this is a capstone moment for blah blah, but it kind of is. Like, these strikes are like, this shit sets the tone for all of labor, probably in the world. Like, if we can't overcome this, then it's gonna teach every other industry that they can just fuck the worker to death with whatever they want to do.
And AI will come to replace us all.
Because I've heard, like, AI, like voiceover stuff. I have heard, there's so much like AI music. Like, I've
it's
heard
going to destroy a bunch of industries. It won't just. It might start with
happening and shit. Yeah, like, it's all crazy. Like, especially in music, there's no protections in music anywhere. There is no union. So
I saw Snoop Dogg talking about that. He's like, I have 1 billion streams, but where's my money? Like, I'm not getting paid for these streams, and music doesn't have a union, like you said. There's nobody to fight for you except for yourself, and the industry's already winning.
Right.
Yeah. It's all bullshit. I was like, it sucks to talk about, even because, it's like, hey, like, it's just a downer, like, it's just all a downer. It's just like
what kind of hope is associated with it? Especially if you guys can't hammer out some sort of, like, establishing labor deal where that's concerned, and that's precedent for everybody else, right? So whatever comes from that, people are going to model, and
yeah.
I don't want people to use my likeness to teach,
right?
Like, that's it. Like, you can't. I don't know, man. I'm
optimistic, and we all are too. You can't do things without people. Like, it's just, that's where we are, and that's how it's always going to be, until we get to a point where, like, there's hyper advanced robotics that can, like, walk around and, like, harvest all of our crops and shit. Like, we are going to be, we live on the earth, and we are the people that live here, and we are needed to do all the shit that we need. Like, AI and technological advancements are supposed to be there to automate our mundane tasks, so that we can do things like art, like, so that we can create the way that we're supposed to. It's not supposed to be the other way around. Like, we're not supposed to be like working in an Amazon factory while
AI gets to create art.
Yeah.
Josh, before we go to the next topic, where can everybody go to support the writers and actors?
So there's a number of places. Like, there's the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. There's the entertainment fund, which I am doing shit for right now. So I have a merch store and I'm on Cameo. So all of my merch profits and all of my Cameo profits are being sent to the entertainment fund, which is a fund that helps all entertainment workers. So there are many other unions that are not on strike right now, but they are not working and they are suffering. So the entertainment fund helps people. Like there are plenty of crew that are losing their homes, losing their apartments, and they can't feed their family, and they're not on strike. They just don't have any work. So the entertainment fund helps all TV and film workers.
Awesome. I will make sure I'm sharing out that link too. Thanks, Josh, so much for giving us some insight on that. And after that, I'm sure we could all use a drink. So let's go on over to Dan. Dan.
Best of luck, Josh. Like I change gears a little bit here. Maybe...
I don't mean to be depressing. I'm sorry.
No,
it's not you, man. It's not your fault. These people.
I appreciate it.
You're delivering the message which everybody needs to hear. Like, and
Justin
maybe you could use this. I wanted to go on the show for a while with Jason, and like obviously I got my start kind of on YouTube doing cocktails during COVID. Like everybody kind of jumped on, and so I was like, yeah, I'll make a drink and kind of, attribute it to the Three Geeks tradition, everything pop culture. And I thought about it, and I wanted to do a take on an old fashioned. So sometimes people think that old fashions are only whiskey drinks. They're not. Old fashioned is a style of cocktail, okay, featuring sugars, bitters, and liquor. Okay, that's it. It's a style, not a whiskey drink. It generally is ordered with whiskey, but you can get it with a lot of stuff. There is a version of it called the Clint Eastwood, which features rye whiskey and a liquor called chartreuse, if you know it. And so I wanted to create a variation on that using some stuff that I enjoy in an old fashioned. So I'm calling this the Stare Down in honor of Clint Eastwood and in honor of the Three Geeks and everything. And so you guys can imagine somebody, like staring you down while they're drinking it. Okay. The ingredients, you got rye whiskey, and I'm using from Mammoth in Traverse City, Michigan. Absinthe, and I'm using the Grand Absinthe, which is 138 proof. I prefer to make cocktails with it. I think it blends with the cocktail better than the 119 proof. You need Angostura bitters, which you've probably seen these bottles around before with like the long package on the top. You need an orange peel and a sugar. It really should be a cube, but I was out of cubes today, so I made myself some simple syrup real quick, which I recommend. If you're making cocktails at home, don't buy simple syrup because it's literally just sugar and water. Use a 1-to-1 ratio of sugar and water. Boil the water, put the sugar in, stir it, make sure it doesn't clump, and then when you're happy with the profusion, dump it into a jar and put it in your fridge. It'll keep for 3 months. And then you don't have to buy a $10 bottle of simple syrup from the store. You need a mixing glass, strainer spoon, stirring spoon, peel for the orange, jig like always, and my favorite part of today's drink, a torch.
Oh, there we go.
I love playing with fire on YouTube. It's one of my favorite things.
Yes.
You're the Human Torch. Three Geeks approved.
Yes, absolutely.
So, you start with your cheapest ingredient when you're making cocktails. Before the show, we were talking about like people doing things just kind of erroneously in the bar. And one of the things that you should notice from a good bartender is they'll start with the cheapest ingredient. There's a lot of reasons for this. One, it allows you to make adjustments on the fly and you don't lose money for the bar. Two, it's just tradition. It's like the traditional bartender way to approach things. You need
it's old fashioned.
There you go.
You need half an ounce of your simple syrup if you're doing it like me, or 1 sugar cube. Okay, and you do this before the ice. You don't put the ice in yet because we want to mix the bitters with the sugar. Okay. You need 3 dashes of your bitters. Oddly enough, I've seen this. People go to the store and buy this. This has a very high alcohol content, and you don't get carded for it. Just a little random.
Weird.
I got it. I as somebody who doesn't drink, I don't drink very often.
Some advice for the kiddos.
When did absinthe?
What's your question, Jason?
When did absinthe become okay to drink in the U.S.?
It was okay to drink as of 2003, if I remember right. But part of it was this. It was a big misnomer. Everybody was like, wormwood, it'll make you hallucinate. No, when it came out, it tasted so good that people could drink a lot of it. And so they'd have people drinking like a whole bottle of like 138 proof liquor. And that's what made them hallucinate. Wormwood doesn't make you hallucinate like people say that it does. It was just, you know how like the weed industry got downplayed in the 1930s? Well, if you go all the way back to the early 1900s, the same thing happened to absinthe. It was like, if you drink absinthe, you'll kill your family, stuff like that. Like, it's just a lot of misinformation.
Absinthe madness!
Yeah, it's like absinthe madness. So you got your sugar mixed with your bitters. Now you want your ice. You want 2 cubes. I'm using large cubes, okay? That's why it's 2. You use 1 whole cube always, and then you want to crack your second cube so that way it gets into the liquor and everything. You actually want to water it down. I know that sounds weird, but water opens up the flavors, and you want it mixing in there. This is a really whiskey forward drink, so you guys are going to be amazed. You want 2.75 ounces of your whiskey, your rye. So that's quite a bit of whiskey. That's 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 0.75. The absinthe, you want 0.75 ounces of it. And like I said, I'm using 138 proof, but if you don't want to go that high on the proof, don't. It will be noticeable in the drink.
I would be straight fucked up at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm like off the vapors.
And then, so you have it all in the mixing glass. You got a nice little pretty color there. Stir it until you get condensation around the outside of your mixing glass. That's the key part. If you feel the mixing glass getting cold, it is cold enough. Now, some people would say, why not make this in the actual glass? Well, a couple reasons. You only make cocktails in a glass if you're adding ice to it. I'm not going to add ice to this cocktail. Okay. So I am going to pour it into a coupe, it's called. I'm using my smoked coupe today. It's got a nice little pretty, like, kind of perforation on the side. I think that it looks nice with drinks like this. And you strain it in there. Now my favorite part, fire. Okay.
My favorite part too. Let's do it.
Give yourself a nice deep peel that's probably about, let's call it like 3 inches long on your orange. Get deep enough that it matters. That's what she said.
You and Mike said you guys wanted to focus more on food and drinking. That's why I got Dan here.
Dan's always welcome, and so is Josh. Every Saturday we can do drinks and talk about this. Right?
Yeah, Mastershake. The only problem is like he's the only one that, right in this model right now that we've got going on. I don't get to drink the beverage. Like I'm gonna tell you right now,
I do like having people. One of my favorite things I've done is I have other people on the show and I tell them how to do it, because my whole point with this really is, honestly, anybody can be a bartender. You just have to follow the recipe.
Don't worry, guys. Sturdy's up next with edible recommendations.
But you know, like
you're trying to kill other industries.
Mastershake, like being a bartender is fine. Having a bartender is better.
So, torch, as always, be careful. It's not a toy. Okay. You want to char the end of your orange peel.
See, look at that char. Beautiful.
And you do it, if you do it right over the drink, you'll get little pieces that kind of fly off, and that's okay. Ooh, that's it. It smells really good too. And then
rub it in.
You give it a nice little bath right into the top, and you wind up with.
It looks awesome.
It looks nice.
And then this is how I imagine drinking this, because it's called a stare down, is like this.
You're in my soul right now, Dan.
Yeah, you know, like I would kind of have to call that drink the creeper.
Yeah, it's very intensive.
Oh, I'm in your bushes with whiskey drink.
The flavor notes, you do get the citrus that you burn off the top right there with a little bit of smokiness. It's sweeter than you expect, in large part because of the absinthe and the half an ounce of simple syrup that we have in there. But you do get the smokiness of both our char and the bitters. The rye, because I used an 80 proof rye and not an overproof rye, you don't get a lot of burn from the rye. So if you want that rye flavor in there to be more forward than the absinthe, you have to use an overproofed rye. I have a 120 proof rye and 140 proof rye upstairs. I could try and play with it that way, but I prefer it to be absinthe forward rather than rye forward, and that would be where people would kind of like mix up the drink.
Now, if you were to pour all the alcohol you have in your house into one container, how much liquid do you think that would be?
I have, let's call it 100 bottles of alcohol in my bar.
Wow.
So quite a bit. Now, that would be an expensive... Some of the whiskey I have up there is pretty expensive.
I would never dream of pouring all of your alcohol into the same container.
And he did this. He's like, you know what, guys, let's find out. All of a sudden, you see his wife. She's like, Dan, get out.
Mr. Shake would be so mad because she enjoys it obviously as much as I do, and like it. We try to find new flavors around the state of Michigan all the time, and part of what I did on the show obviously was like plug Michigan. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of great craft breweries and distilleries here in Michigan. But cheers, fellas, and thanks for having me on the show.
That's great.
See, I can't. I mean, I guess I don't hate everything in Michigan. But oh my goodness. No,
does Flint have water yet?
I don't have anything to make that drink. I want one real bad.
It's good. It's good. It's good drink. It's good drink.
Soon, Dan and I are going to meet for lunch, so you guys will have to come with me.
More than happy.
He's only like 2 hours away, maybe 3 hours away.
Yeah, no, I
only in 3 hours.
I understand that place is not far, but I don't want to go there. It's a bad place.
I can take my apron off now.
No, wear an apron? Did you wear a kilt?
I do have a kilt though. I do have a kilt, and I don't know. I don't like wearing it out because people will straight up just reach under the kilt.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's aggressive. I wouldn't
that's
even think
super
about
aggressive.
Technically, that's assault.
Yeah.
I know.
That is assault.
Yeah, like
they'll just be, got anything under the kilt? And be like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
a sandwich. Holy
yeah,
God.
bro. There's meat under there.
Is that one of those like white boy fun things, Dan? Or is that like the next level? I'm only asking because from my friends, they're telling me all these wild games. I'm not saying you all do them, but I'm just like, what in the world? Like that's a fist fight if you do that over here, man.
That's pretty extra. I will
wild
say.
Okay, so that's a step extra.
Yeah. You know, like I as a kid, you know, like as a black kid, like I always had the short haircut, and people would always just rub you, just like and like for no reason at all.
Yo, you get that, or you'd get, you should grow your hair out. Like, no, the fuck, I should. Do you know
like,
what
bro,
it takes
like,
to go through this?
I'm guilty of both.
This is a laundry list of problems that we're
like,
not gonna get to. Like I'm just
it looks so cool. It looks
I've known Max since we were in second grade. I'm guilty of both. Like I watched Naked Gun 33 in the third. And OJ Simpson's afro was like way out here.
Yeah, the giant football that they put on his head.
I always wanted Max to grow that. He never did.
No, but like I honestly, it's not even that though. Like I you can see here, like I've always had this thinness. Like growing the hair out isn't my deal. You know, like wasn't for me. Like that's fine. Jason knows all about that. But
Did you guys watch the Chris Rock documentary?
Oh, yeah.
It's about black hair. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
What's it called, Josh?
It's called I think it's called Hair. Let me look it up. Talk about other stuff so you can't see that I'm Googling.
But yeah, like to my point though, like people just be touching. Like I mean, I would never figure that reach underneath your like clothes to like see if you're just like swinging dong or not. But like,
like here's the thing: is I always wear like because it's cold in Michigan in March. It's like really cold. I'm always wearing like
good hair.
Good hair.
Awesome.
Yeah, like everyone that is not black needs to watch this movie. It'll teach you about why it's fucking hard.
It's impossible.
And that's just me speaking as a man. I don't the women's side. I have no idea what goes on over there.
My wife spends $300 or more every 3 months, so that way she doesn't have to put up with it, man. She has like flat hair, and like it. She showed me pictures from when she was a kid, and like I cannot imagine having to take care of it. Like it just looks so difficult.
Yeah. It's like it is what it is, but like I'm still on people reaching up under your kilt to find out if you're like wearing under. I'm like, regardless of the answer, what are you doing? Like,
they're hammered. It's St. Patrick's Day. They're hammered. They don't know.
Oh, okay.
That could be an excuse.
I mean, that's
not
gonna wear.
Like if you get a bunch of drunk frat boys in a situation, like that doesn't surprise me that they would reach under that. But like, I was in the Marines. Like, I understand getting a bunch of dudes together and putting them in a small place drunk. Like, weird stuff happens.
There were some younger guys there's one bar that my friend Eric and I like to go to on St. Patrick's Day every year. There's a bunch of younger guys, and we were kind of gibbering back and forth with each other, and they were doing push-ups, like vertical push-ups against the wall. And I was like, I can do vertical push-ups, and so like they were counting them out, but every time I was doing one, they were giving me a sip of beer. So it's like drinking Guinness upside down like that as I'm doing vertical push-ups. That night didn't end well. I will say that night didn't end well.
So it's like, okay, Max, like we're in the bar, we're having a good time. Do a push-up. No, that's gonna make me stop having a good time. No, what? How are we still having fun? Like,
I thought it was a fun.
You're like, I was doing push-ups. I'm like, that sounds like exercise, bro.
It sounds like.
Awesome.
You know what's funny about like, and you don't even have to. This is drunk. Well, I'll say sober for this. What I'm about to say, but you can get a bunch of kids together and a bunch of guys together with no adult supervision. By that I mean the mothers or the women. What? Something stupid's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna be in less than like 3 hours.
Yeah, we're knocking on that door right now.
Like there should only be a certain amount of men you're allowed to have in a space at a certain time
without supervision.
Yeah, it gets.
Yeah, it's like when your parents knock on the door, like, hey, what's going on? And you need the wife to just open everybody's wife. Hey, what's going on in here?
Nothing. Just scatter.
Jason, give me that lighter.
All right.
I'm in trouble.
30. Kick us off with number 5 on your list for weddings. Now that we're all drunk.
Okay, now Jason kind of messed up on the list title here. Now I it's open. Okay, movies with a wedding in it. Okay,
that's
not
right.
featuring.
Like, I made sure.
Yeah, it's open-ended.
Okay, yeah, because he said featuring earlier, and I was like, the movie doesn't need to be the feature. They just need to, like, if somebody gets married over there and they never talk about it again, like that counts. So like,
got it.
Anyone change your list right now, go for it.
All right, Sturdy.
You want me to kick it off?
Yep.
All right. Sex in the City. It was a movie that I actually reviewed.
Did you like it?
I
mean, I hope so. It's on your top 5.
No.
No. This is just 5 movies with weddings in them.
Yes, that's how I took this. 5 movies with weddings in them. But the funny thing is if you go back to the episode of Popcorn and Pints, we dove deep into that conversation about that movie. 4 grown-ass men just like really going deep and arguing over whose fault it was for certain situations, and it wasn't the little girl's fault. Ibrahim, I hope you see this. You can't blame a child.
Yes, you can. I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
Not when there's people there that are supposed to be supervising that child.
No, children are awful.
I like the concept of Popcorn and Pints. They have a wheel that they spin, and whatever it lands on, they have to review that movie.
I love that, Sturdy. I love it so much.
And that was one of them. But yeah, I picked that movie.
All right, my number 5 is one of my favorite horror movies, Ready or Not.
Number 4 on my list.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I was surprised by how good that movie was. I don't do horror, and I'm not a horror fan at all. I don't like being scared. I don't know why people like being scared, but I mean, even a horror fan can agree. I see you over there freaking out, Mastershake. Like, even you as a horror fan can agree.
Can agree what?
That most of the horror movies are bad.
I won't say. You see, you're saying most, but you haven't seen. There's a lot that are great.
Oh, absolutely. No, I do. I like even I don't like being scared. I don't like my heart racing like that. I don't like the feeling. I don't like the paranoia. I don't like the wondering what's that shadow in my own house. God, I can't stand any of that.
I totally get it. But the thing about horror, and it's why I love horror so much, is because horror, you were allowed to talk about things that weren't talked about in the mainstream media ever. Like horror movies were some of the first ones to talk about like homosexuality, to like talk about racism, to like talk about all that shit. And I know that it comes with being scared, but it was like horror is like a fucking revolution, man. Like it changes the way people think.
I'm not hating on horror. It's not for me. But like
it's my fault that he doesn't like horror.
But most of the horror movies come out
your fault.
Like you know,
it is my fault. It is my fault that Max does not like horror movies.
Would you show him screen?
My fault.
No, it was the It movie. I was like 7 years old,
that's different,
and it was the It, the TV show or whatever.
Oh, the miniseries.
It came out with Tim Curry as Pennywise, right?
Oh well.
Now he invites me over to watch this movie, and we only watched the first half of it. So the part that I thought was the end of the movie, I thought the movie ended with the monster coming back, like, and just there's nothing they can do, and it's like the most depressing, darkest part of the movie, and then I went home. Like it's, I don't walk home in the freaking dark, Jason. I hate you.
Max is riding his bike home, and he's like,
the whole time. Dude, okay, look, I've never been an exercise. I've never been a runner. I ran home. Okay.
It was only 4 doors.
I ran all the way home. I've been the fat kid my whole life. Like, no. Okay, 4 doors is 4 doors too many to be running.
I watched it once, and after I watched the movie, I looked at my backyard. I swear to God, and there was a red balloon floating across my backyard. I hid under my bed until my parents came home for the rest of the night.
That's where it would get you.
Yeah.
I was petrified. What are the odds? What are the odds of a balloon floating across your yard at the end of that movie?
I wish I would have sent that balloon.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just Max in your backyard holding a red balloon.
Yeah.
Carrying listings.
Oh, you see a red balloon running home, you would probably passed out on the way home. Like,
dude, no, I would have been done. I would have just had the heart attack and died. Like it would have been like, oh, you got me. Like I'm dead.
And crying for your mom.
Yep.
Boy, I told you not to watch some damn movies.
I mean, like I can't say anything different. Like this is a 100% true statements coming out of your mouth right now. Like there's no argument against it.
So and the reason why I say it, for me, I've been watching horror since I was about 5 years old, and I was watching it like following my older cousins around and my older brother. But the rule was, if we're at my house, don't wake up Ma or don't wake up Aunt so-and-so, because you know what's going to happen to all of us if they get woken up and you're down here watching these movies with us, and then you're scared, and then the real fear is going to be coming downstairs. The wrath of thunder is going to be coming down.
The thing you actually need to be scared of is
and it is actually more scary than anything. Anything the screen can show you is not as scary.
And the lies they told you about, if you get scared, hide under the bed, hide under the covers, it'll protect you, I'll check your barrier. That's bullshit. Because that belt broke through it every damn time. Like, what kind of a shield? This shield sucks.
No. Hopes and dreams Hopes and dreams. That's all.
How big is
Thoughts and
Dad's
prayers.
waist? This thing gets me everywhere.
But yeah. So that being said, I went and saw Ready or Not, and I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Okay.
So yeah, like
maybe a certain type of horror you would like.
Yeah, I mean, like, and also like as an adult, again, like there's like 6 or 7 horror movies that I really, really, really like, and I would watch again and again.
Yeah.
So like, I mean,
I think Max's lane is comedy horror, like Tucker and Dale, things like that.
Yeah, oh yeah, but again, like I don't even really equate that as horror, like because it's like this whole gore section of horror that's like not really scary. It's just like kind of disgusting, and that's a whole thing too. So. Yeah, like those movies were the comedy ones are like Tucker and Dale, just like okay, like people getting thrown into the freaking into the wood chipper.
Yeah,
like that's not really scary. It's just gross. Like, absolutely. Yeah, Tucker and Dale, I love that one too. So
watch that movie through the eyes of the teenagers. It's a funny cut on the Blu-rays.
I'm sorry to just take over the podcast about this, but Smile. Recently, I went and saw that movie, and that was scary as hell.
That movie scared me too. But I got made fun of by my daughter's friends because I was like this through part of the movie, and I don't get like this.
But the one scene where she is stabbing that dude, it's like she's having the hallucination. She's stabbing that dude. She's looking at Kumar, and she's like just stabbing this dude, and like I just lose it laughing because the whole thing was just hilarious to me. And like the whole theater starts laughing. There's this weird 5-second period in the movie where everyone's just laughing at this dude getting brutally stabbed to death.
Sounds like a good horror movie to me.
Yep. Hell yeah.
What was your 5?
Yeah,
If Ready or Not was 4, what was your 5?
I had to throw it on there. It's my best friend's wedding. It's I've seen this movie 100,000 times because of my mother. She loves this movie. I think this movie is like one of her top 5 of all time.
I can't believe I missed it. I love that movie. That's a good choice.
Yeah. So like in honor of my dear sweet mother, my best friend's wedding is my number 5.
That's great.
Dan, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, nice.
There's a wedding in that?
It's got 2 wedding scenes in it. And I thought it was a unique enough choice that it might be kind of a surprise. So absolutely. I love that movie. And the tragic backstory with the wedding was always funny to me.
I love that movie.
Oh right,
too.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, yes. Sorry.
That movie is fantastic. I love the sequel too.
Good sequel.
What about you, Josh? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is The Corpse Bride.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's Tim Burton's, what's it? The stop motion animation. It's great.
Great soundtrack to it too.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
What's up, Kathleen? 3 Geeks, Schubart, Mastershake, and Sturdy. Too much awesome. I 100% agree with you, and I still love that picture of you and your husband. You guys are my favorite couple ever, so kudos to that. Justin, what's your number 5?
My number 5, similar to Max in terms of like having a relative that really likes a wedding-related movie. The Wedding Singer. My sister-in-law, my sister, like a lot of women in my family are a big family. Yeah. So good.
That's my 3.
It is so good.
Yep. Wedding Singer, grateful.
VHS.
Nice.
The Wedding Singer.
VHS.
That's up there.
Holy crap! Yes.
I think I have it on VHS too, Dan.
Oh my goodness! Absolutely, I applaud you, sir. I applaud you.
Do you have a VHS to play it, or do you just?
Yeah.
Like,
man.
VHS?
So I rescued. I mean, I had a good VHS player anyway, but when I first started teaching, they were throwing all the VHS players out. Do you guys remember that Sony that has the actual physical dial on the front that coaches use? So I rescued one of those, and I use it still to this day, and it has such great quality.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome. That is great.
The Wedding Singer has it's my number 4 since I'm next, but it has one of my favorite comedic actors who I think is highly underrated. And it doesn't matter how bad the movie is, but if John Lovitz is in that movie, I am all in. Just push my cards in. I'm going to watch it. I might not pay to watch it. I might watch it on a streaming service. But I love John Lovitz, and his cameo in this movie is perfect.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Sturdy, what was your 4?
So my 4 was Corpse's Bride.
Oh, nice.
And it has kind of the horror elements, but the wife wanted to watch it, and so I watched it. But yeah.
It's a good choice, man.
Yeah, that's a very good pick.
It's an excellent choice.
Yes, it is.
What about you, Max?
Mine was Ready or Not.
Okay, yeah, that's right. What about you, Josh?
My number 4 is The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Nice.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Good.
Yes.
Good call.
I forgot about the wedding in that.
At the very end.
Yeah,
Good pull.
Yeah.
There's so many movies with weddings in it now that I think about it. And like a lot of those movies, you know why they piss me off?
Because they get married.
No, not that part. It's they always end in a wedding and a fucking dance. All the time. Like that's how the movie goes off. Like you guys couldn't think of something else at all?
Yeah, The Hangover ends like that. Hitch ends like that.
A lot. Like if you go through them, there's a lot that end like that.
So
I think Wedding Crashers ends like that.
Shakespearean comedy, which is what they're based off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should create an outro where it's just us dancing. And we just go out every time
just
to really mess with Sturdy.
I'm for it. It's like in the Barbie movie when she's like, what are you doing later? It's like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw a little party with my friends. Like, there's going to be this whole dance number and yada, yada.
I fucking love that movie. I love the Barbie movie. Actually, I'm not allowed to talk about it because I'm on strike. So never mind. I have no opinion of the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
But the thing did happen in the Barbie movie. We're not expressing our opinion of it. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about things that were shown in a movie. Not at all. We'll not go there. But
I'm not allowed to talk about any new things that are out. So I have a lot of things to say about a lot of stuff, but I'm just keeping that to myself.
Yeah. Let's not get in trouble. Like that's cool.
What about you, Dan? What was your number 4?
Number 4, The Return of the King.
Nice.
Oh yeah, bitch! That is
great wedding scene at the end, and like my friends, you kneel for no one. Like I was like, yeah, man, great movie. I got the extended editions right here, of course, in Blu-ray.
Sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to talk over you. I was just super excited to hear Josh say, "Yeah, bitch." I'm gonna flip that so hard.
I wish that movie was like the CG in that one. The CG in that.
You guys know some theater chain is doing releases of it this fall. Yeah, they're doing the extended editions of all 3.
You know what?
At the same time,
the theater near me does.
No, not the same time.
No, they do every week. So they do 2 showings a week for 3 weeks, and they just knock them out.
Yep.
You know, I've never seen those movies. I might do it in theaters in October. Maybe
it's great. Get your tickets early.
The Lord of the Rings films.
I've seen the first Hobbit movie. I enjoyed it.
That's all I got. Bruh, get out. Get out of your 3 Geeks podcast.
That's like saying you watched the Ewok Adventures.
Yeah, the Christmas special. I like Star Wars because of the Christmas special.
Oh, man, the Hobbit is way better than the Christmas special. Let's
any of the Star Wars films. Hasn't seen anything, and I'm so jealous of him because he gets to watch them all again and watch a person to watch it for the first time. It's just mad. Like if you could just live stream you watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy for the first time, Jason, that'd be great. Because
I'll set it up just because I've watched them 100 times a piece, so I'm not missing anything. So I'll just
go with me.
Justin, what was your 4? Did you already say?
I have not said it yet.
What was your 4?
The Proposal. So this one was Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
Hilarious movie.
Yeah, it was so fun. And I have a fun memory with it. So I went with my buddy Wes. We thought Ryan Reynolds would be super funny. And we went, and it was a group of dudes, like not a girl in the theater. There was like 50 high school kids behind us. We were in college at the time, and I swear to God, every kid was like, "I thought we would see Sandra Bullock naked," like trying to justify like going to see like a chick flick. It was like it was a wonderful movie. I loved it. You didn't have to justify anything. It was sweet.
Yeah, it's okay
awesome.
to like things.
Yeah,
I was like, it was
cool. Like, yeah,
it's totally cool to like something, you know.
I just remember like them trying to justify to themselves, like, "Oh, I thought this would be different." I was like, "No, you didn't. It's a good movie. Shut up."
Right? Like, yeah, you found it funny. You had fun. Like, it's okay.
Ryan Reynolds is another guy like that. Like anything that he is in, I have loved since this show came out. Two Guys Are Growing Up Pizza Place.
I've never seen that.
This show has Nathan Fillion in it. It has.
Goodness.
It's he's a series regular, like in the second season. It's like his first thing he did.
Great series.
So, my number 3 is Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, nice.
It is, in my opinion, one of the best sequels of all time. I like it better than the first one, but I love the first one. Don't get me wrong. The first one's great, but I really like Bride of Frankenstein.
Love it.
That's great.
What about you, Sturdy?
The Wood.
The Wood.
All right.
That's such a good movie. That was
the coolest way to say that. The Wood.
And take a sip.
It's such a good movie.
Put some respect on it.
But just the story of that movie, the progression of that movie, and seeing how all these friends grow up and change, for the most part, not all of them, and how they kind of like try to help their boy out sobering up before his damn wedding, and it was a
great double features that I watched when I was a kid was The Wood followed by Dead Presidents. That was a great.
I love The Wood. I saw that in theaters. I just had to Google, make sure it was what I thought it was.
Jason's like, wait a minute, what movie y'all watching?
We're not talking about browser history, Jason. We're talking about the movie.
Oh, snap.
Oh, my God.
Oh, snap.
That was back before anybody really knew who Omar Epps was. Like, he wasn't huge at the time.
It was coming up. I'm gonna
Josh
go.
is up.
No, never mind. Josh, go for it.
Oh, sure. So I've watched this movie probably like thousands of times, and it's The Waterboy.
Yes,
I forgot to get married. Oh, the lawnmower at the end.
Yes,
I love it. I love that fucking movie. It's like, I mean, like Adam Sandler movies in general are just. Not all of them, but like specifically early ones, just like how incredibly stupid they were, but they had such heart, and it was like a truly like underdog type of thing that we don't really see that much anymore. And also that character has a stutter, and I have one too, so it just really. It really hits me in the feels, guys.
Probably like Kathy Bates,
dude,
Henry Winkler. I mean, like, no, that movie has some great names in it. Waterboy's my very favorite of the Adam Sandler movies.
So good.
Full stop.
Real quick story. So speaking of VHS players, when the Waterboy came out, it was on VHS, right? And I was going to Tennessee to visit some family. We strapped one of those TVs with a VHS player to the side of like the back seat of a car, and we were just like watching it in the van, just like Jimmy rigged, like it was duct taped and we kept that thing going.
Dude,
that's awesome.
It was fun. It was great.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for Adam Sandler. Like some of his newer movies are hit and miss, but like just the way that he's so loyal to his friends and keeps them employed, like the Schneiders, the Spades, the Chris Rocks. Like I just have a tremendous, like I watched him get, I think it was a Kennedy honor, and like all these people coming on stage and saying all these wonderful things about him. Like I have the utmost respect. I don't know if you guys have seen his latest stand-up special that he did on Netflix a few years back, but it is solid.
It's
one of the
really
funniest things.
And also, like, fuck, guys, like I miss Chris Farley so much. Like his tribute to Chris at the end, like Chris Farley made me realize that I could be an actor and I could be in entertainment. Like I'm a big guy. There's a lot of us that totally felt like we weren't allowed to be here. And Chris Farley, quite quite literally like kick the door down or like cart wheeled it down. But yeah, and I think about him a lot all the time. Just how he made me feel normal when I felt like a piece of shit. So it was great.
I do too, because Kevin James is a guilty pleasure. I like his movies, but every time I watch a Sandler movie with Kevin James, I know Kevin James is a Chris Farley stand-in. So every time I watch those movies, in my mind, I'm like, how would Chris Farley have made this different?
Sure.
Like Chris Farley and Grown Ups with those guys as opposed to Kevin James. Like, how much different would that have been?
A lot more.
It's hard to watch those movies. I find some of them funny. Chuck and Larry I thought was funny, but how much funnier would that movie have been if it had been Chris Farley and Adam Sandler doing Chuck and Larry? Like, it's hard not to think about that, but that's
Pour one out.
It's sad. I've only cried at 2 celebrity deaths. It was John Candy and Chris Farley when I was a kid. I had to miss school the next day because I was very upset.
Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Be safe. What about you, Matt?
Wayne's World 2. World 2.
I forgot. Good call.
Yeah.
Notebook and Pen guy.
Another underrated sequel.
Yeah, Wayne's World 2 is a great sequel. I really appreciate a good sequel. Like, I feel like it's so hard to do, and when it's done well, awesome. Thank you so much. Like, Wayne's World 2.
Especially a 90s sequel, because like sequels in the 90s were always like the same movie again.
Yeah.
So when you got something that was different, like Wayne's World 2, Wayne's World 2 is so good.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
Max, I can't believe it's not on my list.
And you just love everyone in it. Dana Carvey, Mike Myers. It's just a funny, great movie, and then it's also, it's also.
You just made me change one of the things on my list because you made me think of another movie.
All right.
Dan, what's your number?
My third was Wedding Singer. So
nice.
Mine's been said. Justin, what was yours?
The Hangover. That was the whole
Good
premise.
I almost
I know. The other two, I'm not a big fan of, but that first one, I watched almost once a week for a solid 2 months. Like, I loved that movie. It made me laugh so hard.
It is hilarious.
My number 2, which replaced another movie on my list, thanks to Max, is So I Married an Axe Murderer. It's my favorite Mike Myers movie. I love that movie. Like, Mike Myers was perfect in his film resume until he made The Love Guru. But up until then, I love every movie that guy made. And So I Married an Axe Murderer is so good.
That was a good one. That's really fun.
Just came out on 4K, but I can't justify spending $30 on it as much as I want to support it.
Ugh, $30? Boo. Boo, I say.
Love that movie. Thank you for reminding me of that movie, Max. What about you, Sturdy?
Beetlejuice. Another.
Oh, I love that movie. Good choice.
That's just the nostalgia of it. I was like, yeah, with the nostalgia, you throw it on there. You might not like. I'm the type of person I might not remember a movie as far as songs, scenes, and all that. But as soon as you hit play, I'm like, oh, I remember this. It's coming back to me now. And that's definitely
Beetlejuice. Wow, yeah,
definitely one of them. I used to love the animated series, by the way.
The animated series is good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I need to watch.
It was good. It was that's one of the best like adaptation animated series that you can get.
Compare that with like the Back to the Future animated series.
I didn't even know there was one, or did I?
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
I haven't rewatched it since I was a kid. I liked it as a kid.
I watched it as a kid. It's bad, Sturdy. Like, it's bad.
The Mask.
Is it Police Academy, the live action series, bad?
Have you seen
Police Academy?
There's not a lot that's as bad as that, but I'll say this: as a kid, even I knew it was bad. As a kid, even I knew that
the Ace Ventura cartoon is bad too. I just watched that. It's on Tubi, the Ace Ventura, and it's so bad.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. There's a lot of bad adaptation animated series, but Beetlejuice is not one of them.
No. I hope there's a nod to it in the new movie, this series. Like, there's got to be something. What about you, Josh? What's your number 2?
I think I'm pretty sure there was one. I think it's Mars Attacks.
Huh.
Great movie.
I think you're right. Because the alien was all dressed up like the wedding, right?
Yeah, like a bride, and then took her like head off or whatever, and like murdered the president, right? Yeah.
I was such a dumb kid because I saw that movie in theaters and I hated it, and then I watched it a few years later, and it's like one of my favorite movies now.
Brilliant film.
So good. It's such a great satire.
Sometimes it just goes over your head, like that's.
I was mad they killed Michael J. Fox. Even as a kid, I'm like, no.
But to come back to, I don't know, like it makes you appreciate something a little differently. Like he's like, man, the first time I saw this or the first time I heard this, like it wasn't for me. But then like something made me come back to it, and it was actually sweet. I don't know. There's something that puts a good flavor on that. I don't know. I don't know what that feeling is exactly.
Good comedy.
Max, what's your 2?
Oh, my number 2 is Wedding Crashers.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Wedding Crashers.
Good choice. Yeah.
It's a big cliche. Weddings in the title, but yeah, no, I love that movie. I just thought it was hilarious.
That was
Will Ferrell's part killed me.
I'm gonna change my number 1 since I took one off and put it the one back. Wedding Crashers is so good. That movie still makes me laugh. Tummy Swords. What's it called?
Oh, tummy sticks.
Tummy sticks.
Nice.
Tummy sticks.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Tummy
time.
I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell fan, but in that movie, Will Ferrell made me laugh harder than probably.
As long as he's not leading, Will Ferrell is brilliant.
Yeah, and you just know that going to work that day was. He's like, this is going to be awesome, but also take forever. Because it's like, how do you not just die laughing when Will Ferrell is just doing his thing? Like when he's getting in the groove and just going absolutely insane, and there's no way I can keep a straight face that whole time.
Yeah, how does that work, Josh? None of us are. Do you have like a time where like there's a good 2 hours of just like wasted time laughing, just because not wasted time, but you know what I mean?
You kind of go numb to it after a while, just because like you're used to, like if you know that like there's a person coming in like him, you just kind of like prep yourself for it. But like when it's a person like him, it's hard to keep a straight face.
Yeah, I was like even the best got to be like, oh man, Will always gets me at least once. It's like.
Hell yeah.
But it becomes a thing where like especially when it's like an improv time, you're trying to make people break. Like that's the whole whole game. And it usually makes for the things that we love the most are the most extreme shit that like people weren't like breaking for. So it's fun.
What about you, Justin? What's your 2?
Did we skip Dan? Dan, did you say yours?
I haven't yet, but you can go ahead, buddy.
It's okay. Mine was I Love You Man. Slap of the bass.
I almost put that on my list too.
Me and Dan like this. Yeah.
That's such a good movie. Like I love the part where he gets choked out by Ferrigno.
Yeah. The Hulk choked you out.
Well, oh man, it's so good. What a great choice.
Yeah. Hey, thanks.
No one said Avatar, and I'm very mad.
We haven't done our number 1 yet.
Oh, okay. So I
promise I'm still going to disappoint you, Josh.
I'm rapidly changing my number 1 right now.
Everyone says Avatar.
We're talking about The Last Airbender, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's right.
The live action movie that was trash? Yes, that one. Yeah.
Crazy.
My number 1, I'm going to put Bridesmaids.
That was my number 2.
Okay.
We skipped Dan.
Sorry, Dan.
And he's got is that a VHS tape?
No, this one's DVD. This one's DVD.
I'm like, now if you have VHS tapes of movies that I know weren't on VHS, like that would like
Just
No, I don't know
DVD
that.
converter.
I just have I have a
Converse.
trunk of VHSs that I've had since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so I have the real clutch ones I have displayed on the bottom shelf of my rack.
Mhm.
You know, so I got like, you know, I had the original Star Wars that before it was edited.
Yes.
Like, on there. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Let's
So-
go. Han shoots first.
Also, I have a copy. I wonder if you guys know this movie or not. My brother and I love this movie it's called Robot Jocks.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's Stuart Gordon directed it in 1991, and it's like an amazing practical effects robot movie.
Okay, now just hear me out, Dan. Just throwing this out there, okay? No pressure, but we should do we all go over to Dan's and watch Robot Jocks on VHS, and he gives us drinks and gets us drunk. And we can live stream it. We can live stream it or just record it. You know, we can do it as a watch along. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm down for a road trip to Michigan. Let's do it.
I have a really clean copy, but my brother. So funny story. I don't mean to derail, but my funny. This is a funny story. Like my brother, I said for years, I was like, dude, just record my VHS. It's a clean copy. I've taken care of it over the years. No. Finally, he buys the Blu-ray, and it's like $120.
Wow,
that's
it's rare. It's rare. Jocks. The next week, it was available streaming. I felt so bad. I was like, God. I told you just to do a VHS to digital. I told you to do it. No. Like I have my VHS copy plays really well. No tracking problems or whatever. For whatever reason, I've watched that movie like, oh my God, so many times. I got it for $2 when Cablevision, which was like a local rental place, closed in 1992. I got it. It's still in the brown case. You remember the brown cases from the racks? Yeah. Still in the brown case from the racks. And like, it still works really well. So when I want to watch it, that's what I pop it in, and it looks
keeps you grounded because you go rewind it when you're done, and like it's like, man, remember what we used to have to do?
Dude,
now we
push a button. It was my brother, and he had spent $120 after I told him, take this for free. I would have called him up. I would have been like, turn on Netflix. Type in.
Which it's worse. It was like Tubi or something. It's worse. It's like Tubi or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, even better. Even better.
Yo, send me the link if that's the case.
I would have you got to savor it. You got to savor that moment where you're like, hey, bro, it's on streaming now. You could have had it on a free streaming network. You can watch it right now with ads.
Mm-hmm. Your hatred sustains me.
So the only good thing I guess about that is that your brother actually paid the creators of that movie properly by buying the Blu-ray.
Maybe it might have been a reseller though. That's what I was thinking.
It was Shout Factory.
Okay. Then yeah, your brother did a better thing.
Yeah.
A more expensive thing, but a better.
Yeah. Dirty, what was your number one?
Coming to America.
Yes,
great movie. Sequel was trash.
I applaud your whole list, sir.
I thought the sequel was trash too, but I know other people that liked it a lot.
I hated it.
The sequel was a disappointment, but I do have to run though, guys. Had a great time. I definitely want to be on again, Jason. But I got to run. The wife just got home. I got to help her carry some stuff in the house.
Yep. Get out there.
Popcorn and pints. So popcorn and pints, not pies and whatever the hell he said earlier.
Pies and pints.
The worst plug man ever.
I would never eat a pie with a pint, though. That's the worst part. Is I'd never have a pie with a pint.
You should.
No, but it's like pizza pies. It's not like pies
and pints.
Yeah,
and that could be a multitude of pies. But I'm out on
Michigan thing, I'm sure.
Later,
man. Bud.
See,
what a good list.
It was a good
list. What's your number one?
It's The Birdcage.
Great movie.
All right.
It's my favorite movie of all time.
Robin Williams, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yes. Robin Williams and what's
Nathan Lane.
And I'm ashamed to say I've never seen it.
Oh no, but hey, like that just means you get to you get to see it.
So
means you get to.
Yeah, I'm gonna start pivoting my whole thing to that.
He gives a great performance as the housekeeper. It's an amazing film. Just all around, it's just fucking great.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Robin Williams. I mean, like,
one of his
he's
best
Robin Williams. You know, yeah, like
he Williamed it.
Yeah, and I just think everyone was great in that one. Like the story was solid, and like the family, like the dynamics of that family are so just tilted and weird, and like it's such and everyone is great in that movie. The Birdcage is a great movie.
Nice. I will check it out. I'll try to make it a point this week to check it out.
Don't lie.
After I watch Robot Josh.
But like sit down and don't feel rushed. Like when you remember, just like okay, I'm gonna sit down and watch this movie. Like don't have anything else to do. Like it's not a background movie to watch.
Great that Gene Hackman's in it.
Fucking yes, Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
His little scarf in that movie. Oh my god. It's so awesome. He kills it. It's. I feel like he's channeling. What's that movie he did with Sigourney Weaver where
Heartbreakers.
It's like he's channeling his character like from Heartbreakers, but 40 years before Heartbreakers.
Yeah, no, he made Heartbreakers with this dude in mind.
What was your number one, Max?
My number one is The Princess Bride.
Oh, me too. Sabbatical.
All right.
Yeah.
That is what's up. That's just one of the greatest movies. I saw it when I was a kid, and like I just always loved. It's a grandpa telling his kids a story, or his grandkid a story, and
wonderful film.
Yeah, you get taken along for the ride, and like As You Wish, and the ROUSs and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, that was on and off mine. Like
anybody want a peanut?
Yeah.
Like Inigo Montoya, like come on,
love it.
Come on, great character. Looking for a six-fingered man, like there's just I'm in love with it. It's an absolutely great film. Freaking Deadpool, Deadpool. What was it? The Christmas Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Christmas Deadpool. They do a whole thing. The Princess Bride is awesome.
Yes, and Christmas Deadpool did it pretty good too.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
But what about you, Dan?
So my number one.
Your guy's gonna go get it.
On VHS.
I almost with The Godfather. Damn, you and I list almost.
I hate The Godfather.
I know you do, buddy.
Oh, come on. So the first Godfather especially is such a masterpiece. And that wedding scene is so great. It's so well done. I love that movie so much. And any chance that I get to like talk about it, I'm going to it's in my list of so I have a top 500 list I have on Google Drive, and it's part of the perfect tier. It's my S tier. It's an S tier movie to me.
It's kaiju level. Level.
It's just so good, and Antonia, the actress, that's the only role she ever played as Michael's wife. It's a great movie, great scene with the wedding. It's not. I mean, we've hit on some really great comedies. I feel like, but it's obviously not a comedy, but I think it's really good. Great film.
I don't know. It's hilarious when Sonny beats the shit out of that guy with garbage can lid.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not comparing the quality, but The Godfather and the Star Trek, the motion picture, are two movies I did not like for the longest time. I thought they were both extremely boring. But I rewatched The Godfather a few years ago, and I've seen it since, and that's one of my favorite movies now. And then Star Trek: The Motion Picture I watched last week. And I thought that was brilliant sci-fi. Like, I don't know if something just clicks as you get older, but
you can tell they were doing 2001 when they made it. And the thing is, the practical effects in that film hold up. And I'm not downplaying Khan is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I actually think that Star Trek: The Motion Picture is like a gem. It's a gem in that series that goes unheralded. And you got to look at that movie in the same way that you look at 2001: A Space Odyssey is something that, even though it was shot a long time ago, the practical effects still hold up in 2023.
It's very good. It's slow, which might be why I didn't like it before, but man, I don't know. It just really clicked with me now. And The Godfather did the same thing. I think The Godfather is great.
I loved it forever. And
I've not been able to retain consciousness during a viewing of The Godfather.
That's okay, buddy.
Poor Max.
That's I fall asleep to that movie every time I try to watch it. Like I just
Max does fall asleep to most movies that he watches at home.
No.
Man, shots fired.
Untrue. I will fall asleep during a movie that I've seen already, but like not if I'm watching it for the first time. I don't fall asleep. Come on.
I mean,
unless it's The Godfather.
The sheer fact that it changed the way that people make and watch movies forever. Like the Godfather is the reason that we're able to have epics now. It's awesome. Why we got
like I just don't like it. That's great. You know what? I will concede every technical fact you have about The Godfather because like I understand like it's an icon and I understand that it's one of the greatest films of all time. I just don't like it. Like
that's fine. It's okay.
I've attempted to sway Max to the dark side of The Godfather for a long time, so I appreciate Dan and Josh's attempts. It's
all right.
I'm losing one, fellas.
I got to ask you guys this question because I have not watched The Godfather 3 yet. I've heard the Coda is a better edit. Should I watch the Coda version?
I'm going to be perfectly honest and disagree with it with like pretty much everybody you probably heard. I think it's underrated. I have no problem with it. People ripped that movie down.
It's so bad, man.
It was nominated for Best Picture. It was nominated for Best
What does that mean? What does that even mean? How is that even a metric?
Have you guys seen? Has anybody seen the recut version that came out?
I've seen both versions.
Okay.
I like them both. Like this is my thing. Is like it is really hard to end that franchise. It's really hard to. I don't have any issue with it. Everybody that dogs on Coppola's performance acting, his daughter, I mean, they have a point, but the other part is this is like her innocence in the movie, I think works. Like, I don't hate it as much as everybody else does. It's not Godfather 1 and 2. It isn't, but what is? It's still better than I would say. It's still better.
Should have just put Nick Cage in it and called it a day.
Need to get up. Do a podcast together. Like you guys are like the most positive viewers of media of all time. Like together, the force of good that would be YouTube. It's like, hey guys, give it a shot. It's not bad. Like I liked it. Like that is like all you two together would create like a new sun.
Well, this is my thing. Like, are you going to compare Godfather? So I don't compare Godfather 3 to 1 and 2. I don't. I look at it differently, and I think maybe that's why it helps. Like, you can't. Nothing is going to, especially Godfather 2. Nothing is going to equal that. Like, you can't equal the scope, the breadth, the acting, the writing, the director, like everything. You can't equal that because it's like nothing can. And then 3 is just on its own, like an A- movie. Like if you just take it on its own merit, it's like an A. It has faults.
Just looking at Josh's face as Dan was saying sentences was the best. Just
Godfather 3 is not. You can't take it on its own. Like it's not like they didn't. It's not like one of the King Kong films where they made like Kong versus Godzilla and they made Skull Island. Like they made it as a direct trilogy sequel to the first two, and part of the reason that people do shit on it so bad is because two was so fucking good. Like Max, if you haven't seen 2, just watch 2. Fuck 1, watch 2. 2 is like Robert De Niro learned how to speak Italian for the role. Like it's like ridiculous. It's a mashup. It's a prequel mixed with what's happening now. It's super cool. You don't even have to watch 1. Just read the Wikipedia page. It is probably one of the greatest movies ever made in the history of time, which is why 3 is so bad. It's because 3, even though it is not like it's not like I don't know Back to the Future 3 with the train.
Yeah,
it is like something happened to I'm forgetting his name because I'm ranting, but Michael, fucking someone say his name.
Corleone.
No, but the actor's name. Al Pacino was like in his like hoot hoot phase where like he would be like wah wah wah, you know, just with like everything, and he like wah 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 his way through that entire film. So it's like all the nuance and shit that you grew to love about the character, it seemed to like downfall, and that scene where he's screaming on the steps holding her because she's dead, it's like, bro, you're just like wah wah screaming and I don't believe you a lot right now. It's like anyway,
he does play the role very differently. It's a very 90s movie. Like it feels out of place, and if you watch it in sequence, it really does. Like that's a huge part of like why I would say like B+, A- is like if you watch in sequence, it feels out of sequence. He plays the role very different than he did for the first two films. I don't know. Maybe it's because everybody shits on it so hard. Like I try to find something more.
I mean, like, okay, can we say it like this? Like to follow up on one of the greatest movies ever made is very hard.
Oh yeah.
And they made an attempt, and we'll just leave it at that. It's like, hey, you tried to do a hard thing, didn't quite get there, but that's because it's hard. Like it's
like you make a masterpiece like the animated film Fern Gully, and then you make Avatar. It just doesn't.
That was my review of Avatar. I watched Avatar and I said Fern Gully in space, and then I just did that.
I kind of want 30 minutes of Josh just shitting on Avatar now.
Josh and Justin, I'm sorry I didn't hear you guys' answer. Did you guys watch the recut Godfather 3?
No.
I heard
I'm not sure I did. I wasn't a big fan of 3, so I didn't want to go through it again.
I heard you cut out most of Sofia Coppola. Is that right, Dan?
Sofia Coppola. So here's the thing: is like, I mean, she's not a good actress. It's not like, but
it's a great movie filmmaker.
Oh, great film! Oh my god, phenomenal, right? But like, actress, she had to fill in at the last moment for that role because the original actress dropped out, and Francis Ford Coppola went to her and said, "Do you want to play this role?" She said, "Yes." And so her dad kind of like, I don't know, like forced her into it. So I feel a little bad for her. The other part was this is like, he's coming directly off directing the previous movie before that was The Outsiders. Right. Mm-hmm. And so people were really like high on him at the time. Like he got that movie. People forget he got nominated for Best Picture. It was expected to win, didn't, but it was expected to win. Like, I don't know. It probably because everybody shits on it so hard.
Best Picture though. Was it it's the Godfather, guys? We have to nominate it kind of Best Picture nomination.
Is Game of Thrones gonna win an Emmy? Like that's like like even in season 8, you gotta throw it on the list. Like
I didn't like, but it. So I don't know. It like I just really 2 or 3 years ago during the pandemic, I watched it with my wife because she had never watched all 3, and I sat down and watched it. And I was like, man, I remembered hating it the first time I watched it. And then when I watched it with her, I was like, this isn't that bad. I mean, I like that comparison to Back to the Future 3. So Back to the Future 3 is not 1 or 2, but I still like it better than most things. So
but Back to the Future isn't the Godfather. And I think Back to the Future is the greatest trilogy of all time. We can have that debate on another show. But I want to thank Josh so much for joining us. Josh, where can everybody find you online?
So you can go to my website, joshschubart.com. Yeah, I agree. You have to watch all of Lord of the Rings still.
You can talk about best trilogy when you've seen that.
I'm Josh _Schubart on all the social medias. That's how you can find me.
Awesome. Dan, where can everybody find you online?
I mean, just tune into anything Scene Snobs. That's what I tend to work through these days. I keep a pretty low profile because I kind of have a high profile job. So I hide under a pseudonym and bury it underneath other people's leads and stuff. So any of the stuff that I do as far as this, like, I just tend to hide. So just find me on follow Scene Snobs. I'm on a bunch of shows on there. Make sure you tune in Thursdays for Math versus Smash. And hopefully you guys bring me back on here because this was a blast.
This is so awesome, fellas. Yeah,
anytime.
Man,
anytime that you and Josh can argue over a movie to pitch to Max to watch, I'm all in. I'm down.
I love the idea of like the first 30 minutes of them just like agreeing on a movie and talking how cool it was, and the last 15 is Max just popping on screen and just dismantling it. Just I just railing on it.
I know you gotta go, Josh. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, guys.
All right, Josh, it was awesome. Thank you. Good luck
Max,
to you.
You mentioned Dan liking everything. It's funny because Dan does like a lot of movies, just like I do. But we'll have conversations.
I get it already. Like I can see. Like I already felt it.
We'll have conversations though.
Positivity through the internet. Like it is a palpable thing. Like you guys don't even have your forever podcast yet. That's the thing. Like I can already feel it in the air, and you guys don't even have it yet. Like we're right here at the beginning. Like that's what's blowing my mind. Like I cannot wait for you two to get together and watch something that is like mediocre at best. And you guys are just like, you know what? This is pretty awesome. I like it.
Just have Jason watch Godfather 3, and
you know how
it's the best.
No, that might set everything ablaze. Like who knows what'll happen? I'm for it. I want you two to get together. I want this to happen because that's what we need right now in this world. Like we need the supernova of positivity.
Jason knows too much about my takes to know how.
It's funny because he has hot takes like I do. Like we'll have conversation. You guys know how I don't like Hocus Pocus, which is a beloved movie. He has movies like that too, where I'm like, you don't like that movie? He's like,
I had this whole conversation with Mick. I started shitting on Jaws. No, I like Jaws. I like Jaws just fine, but like I don't put it in my S tier. I don't put it in my A tier. I think it's my B tier. Like Jaws is good. I mean, it's a good movie. I think that it's. And he got really mad because I said it was 2/3 of a good movie. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, that whole first third, just throw it away. Don't have anything happen as far as like, just start with introducing Quinn. And he got so mad. And I have stuff like that too. So I mean, like there are stuff. So a movie that I absolutely hate that people love, Midsommar. People love that movie.
I hate Midsommar.
I do not. Despise that movie with a passion.
I don't feel like that's a hot take. I didn't see that movie, but I was like, that one ain't for me.
I was so mad that
seem to hang out with like more young people, like in their early 20s, then, because that is like
no. It sounds like a bad time, bro.
Oh man, I've had to defend that take. I've had to defend that take so many times. And I revisit it constantly under the idea, like, okay, maybe I was too tough on it.
Yeah, like, or like again, like sometimes
bring him here. We'll talk about it as a group, and we'll just dunk on him.
It's also okay to not like something. Okay, it's okay to like something. It's okay to not like something. Absolutely. Hate.
Let me holler at you.
Everybody follow me at 3 Geeks Podcast. Check out the Scary Snobs on Thursdays. And I almost said it again. Popcorn and Pints with Sturdy. Horror with Sir Sturdy. Guys, we'll see you soon.